everybody, Pankhuri here. First of all, thank you so much for volunteering to do this, for managing the Asset Talent Search Test Centers. You guys are doing a really important job. So all the best to you, and Bindu and I here just want to run you through the process so that you're clear about everything that needs to be done. If you follow all the instructions that we've sent to you, I think there won't be any problem on the test day. So we'll just run you through that process, Bindu and I, and in case after watching this you still have any confusion, please feel free to call me or Harit, because Bindu will be traveling. So let's divide this video into two parts. First part is the preparation for the test day. So the test day is on 24 January, but for the test center to be ready, we have to go to the test center a day or at least 2 days in advance and get everything in order, and we'll run you through that. Before that, I'm sure all of you must have received the question papers and OMR sheets. I request you all to please count them. You should know how many students are coming to your test center class-wise, and I've sent extra question papers and OMRs to you, but just to be on the safe side, let's please count all of them and make sure that you have enough copies and with some to spare. So let's just start with the day of the preparation. It could be the 23rd of January, which is Saturday. For bigger centers, I would advise going to the school on 22nd itself, which is Friday, so that if there is a problem, if there is a shortage of invigilators, or there is something that's going on that is you feel needs attention, I think I would advise all centers with 300 plus students to go to the school on Friday itself, 22nd. So Bindu, why don't you start with what they should be carrying on 23rd, the previous day for preparation when they go to the test center, and then we can show them what has to be done at the test center for preparation.
Okay, so on Friday when they are visiting the school, so you need to carry list of students who are going to appear for the test at that particular center. So when you visit the center on Friday, so you have to carry with you a list of students who are appearing for the test, like this. Then you have to carry the sticker sheets for classrooms.
I have sent these to all of you. So these are the sheets that you have to stick on each table so that the students know where they have to sit. So every center has been sent that sheet.
Also, maybe you can carry a printout of an invigilator checklist which you can hand over to the school in charge person, so that she or he can go through it and get to know what need to be done.
Yeah, so when you reach the school, just have a coordinator from the school accompany you to each classroom that has been assigned for the Asset Talent Search test, and go and visit each classroom first and foremost and take stock of things like just make sure the tables are there, like it's here in this room.
Tables are arranged properly, and see that 2 students sit in one bench.
Yeah, there should be enough space. So, for example, a desk of this size, 2 students can sit on this. But if this was smaller, we wouldn't put 2 students. So just make sure, let's say, let's take an example of Bangalore Test Center. Bangalore has, at one of the centers, they have given us 35 classrooms. So please go through the 35 classrooms, see if the seating arrangement is enough. So school is saying 24 students can sit in a class. So you need to check if it's actually 24 students can sit in the class, because
or maybe we can accommodate more students.
Yeah. And see if the lighting is right, if everything is
room is properly ventilated.
Exactly. So go to each room that the school has assigned to you, and just make sure it's ready. If something is missing, inform the school. If the fan is broken, if the light is broken, because students really need a good environment to take the test. They have to be in the classroom for more than 5 hours. So we have to make sure that they're comfortable. They're also very young children, they are 5th graders, so the sitting arrangement should be comfortable enough for a child also, so just make sure that you check all of that. And then once you've checked this, then you can start assigning class to students, and we will take you through that. So what you do is you will have the sticker sheet with you. So sticker sheet is in a certain order. So it has been given in a way that it's serial number wise, it's class wise. Okay. So you take out each sticker sheet and you paste it on the table. So you put one sticker sheet here, the next sticker sheet, go in sequence. Make sure that you don't just randomly pick a sticker sheet. You go in sequence. So you stick one here, and then you go on. And you finish as many sheets as would fit in a row. Once you've done it, let's say you went from serial number 1 to serial number 24 in this room. You stuck those sticker sheets. Then on the notice board sheet, you write down from number 1 to number 24. They are, let's say this is class 5A. So you write down 5A against all the 24 students. Because you will have to put this notice board sheet outside at the entrance of the school. Because in the morning, let's say you have 300 students taking the test at your school, they will all come to the notice board, they'll see their name. It's all in alphabetical order by class. So this sheet is for 5th standard, there will be another sheet for 6th standard, another for 7th and 8th. And every class-wise sheet is in alphabetical order. So let's say a class 6 student will come, he or she will see class 6 written above the notice board and they will then go and see their name. So let's say their name is Raj Lakshmi. So Raj Lakshmi against Raj Lakshmi, let's say class 6th is mentioned. So Raj Lakshmi will go and sit in class 6th. So we have to be very clear about the classroom that we are putting. So this has to correspond to the sticker sheet that we have put. So we have put this child's sticker sheet in this room. So this room's number should be written here. So this has to be done for every student class wise. So you put notice board sheet by class. So that the students don't gather at one place, otherwise it will become chaotic. You'll have like 300, 400 parents all trying to see where the child has to sit, and it will create chaos if you don't separate it out. So please just make sure. Also for bigger centers, try to put multiple copies of the notice board sheet.
Plus this copy will be also the attendance sheet for the invigilator. So you need to take 2 copies of the same, one for the notice board, one as an attendance copy for the invigilator.
So the format will be slightly different because you have to take signature of the students on the attendance sheet, but the sequence will be the same. So that your sticker sheets, your notice board sheet and your attendance sheet have the same sequence. It's not like the students are in one order in one sheet and another order in another sheet. That will create confusion. So your attendance sheet, your notice board sheet and your stickers will all be corresponding to each other. So once you've done that, let's say you have 10 classrooms in the school, you've stuck sticker sheets in all in all the 10 classrooms, then you create your notice board sheet. I would advise creating a printed copy of this. So for rough work, you can take this, you can write down against each student which class he or she is sitting in, but then I will be sending you an electronic copy of this. You should ideally go back home, do a online work on this and then print out a fair copy, because it might not look good if something is handwritten on the notice board sheet and that is stuck on the school notice board. So this copy where you do rough work should be for your reference, but what you finally put on the notice board should be like a fair copy, electronically made and printed, and then just put it on the notice board outside. Anything else on the preparation day?
So once the number of classrooms are finalized, then you can talk to the school in charge person and say that you would require this many invigilators and also the helper person from the school. And once that is done, just check the washroom availability and water, everything is readily available on the test day for the students.
Yeah, so talking about invigilators now. So let's say in your test center there are 15 classrooms in which students will be sitting. I think the day that you prepare for the test day, you should also assign teachers to the classroom. So if 5A, 24 students are sitting, you should assign teacher, let's say Sheila to 5A, then Bindu to 5B and so on. So, it will be easy for you when you come on the test day, which teacher is going to which class, and that way you can instruct them in advance as well. So you can tell the teachers how many kids will be sitting in her classroom, what will be the grade of those students, because we are making sure that students of different grades sit separately. So ideally we will not mix class 5 and 6 or 6 and 7. Every grade should ideally sit in a separate classroom. That will make it easy for us to collect OMR sheets, count them properly, no mix up will happen, because the test timings for classes are also different. So for 5th and 6th standard, the test timing per paper is 60 minutes, whereas for 7th and 8th per test it is 70 minutes. So it is advisable to put each grade in a separate classroom, because that way no confusion, no question papers being mixed. Yeah. So let's assume I'm the invigilator and Bindu is a student taking the test at the test center. So the students will be reporting at 10 o'clock. They will come see their name in the notice board. They'll find out which classroom they are sitting, and they will all come and sit in the classroom. So once the students are sitting in the classroom, first of all they should sit where their name is there. So for example, on this desk it says Bindu and her asset PAN number is written here, her class is written here. She should be sitting here. Okay. So 10 o'clock all the students will start coming in and everybody will settle down in the next 10-15 minutes. So once the students come in, 10 minutes before the test is supposed to start. So the first test starts at 10:30. So 10 minutes before the test is supposed to start, please give the students their OMR sheets. So the invigilators will get their own OMR sheets for each class, for each student and each subject. So you give the students the OMR sheet and ask them to fill it out. Now this is the critical part. I'll show you how a student is supposed to fill this out, and the information has to be correct. And when you go around checking the OMR sheets for every student, please make sure you check this information, because if anything is missing in the OMR sheet, it's possible that the machine that reads the OMR will not be able to read the sheet, and it would create a problem for the student who's taken the test. So every student will bring their hall ticket to the test center. This is a hall ticket that students have been asked to download from the EI-India website. They will all have a copy of this. It will very rarely happen that a student will not carry their hall ticket. If such a thing happens, please make a note of it. Let the student take the test, but please make a note of it and send that information to me, so that we can verify that that student was actually, is a student who's supposed to come take the test. So we can't do much at that point. We can't send a student back, but we should make sure that the information is there. Now in the hall ticket, you will find that the student's name is there. In the OMR sheet, the first information that the students have to fill out is the name of their own school, the city that they belong to, and the date, today's date. So that would be 24 January obviously. The next thing that they have to fill out is their name, and it has to be done in a certain way. So they have to write down their first name first, then their middle name, and then the last name. And then they have to fill out the corresponding oval against their letter of their name. So it is really important that they do this properly, because if they don't blacken these ovals properly, the machine will not read their information. So invigilators, when you go and check the students' OMR sheets, please make sure that you check this information, that the student has written the same name as written in the hall ticket. The next thing that they have to fill out is their class. So again, check against the hall ticket. If it says class 5 here, in the hall ticket also it should say class 5, and so on. They can ignore the section and roll number part, because that is not relevant. The next thing, which is very, very important, the paper code. The paper code is mentioned on the blackboard. You should write down the paper code on the blackboard also. So let's say you are handling class 5, then you should write down the corresponding class 5 paper code for English subject when the English subject is going on. Also in the question paper, the paper code is given very clearly. So let's say when the students are doing maths paper of class 6, their paper code is written here, and that paper code should be put in the OMR sheet. Every class, every subject has a separate paper code, and that paper code should be mentioned in the OMR sheet. They should write down the date of birth, and now the next most important thing is the asset PAN number. Asset PAN number is a unique ID of every student, and again asset PAN number is mentioned in the hall ticket also, so students should read their hall ticket and copy the same thing in the OMR sheet. Again, asset PAN number is extremely important, so I request all of you to please, when you're inspecting the OMR sheets, please check this information. So now what happens is that for every subject, the invigilator has to go to the student and the invigilator has to sign the OMR sheet. So for example, if I am a teacher, I will take my pen, I will go to, let's say, Bindu's desk, I will look at the OMR sheet, I will look at her hall ticket, I will match everything. I will say, okay, the name is correct, the PAN number is correct, the paper code is correct, the class is correct. Once I am satisfied everything in the OMR is exactly as it is in the hall ticket of the child, I will, on the right hand corner of the sheet, I will sign my name. So this will validate the OMR sheet. We should sign the OMR sheet to validate that the student has actually taken this test and this is a valid OMR sheet. The other thing that an invigilator needs to sign is the hall ticket. This is a proof to the student that the student came to the test and took the test. So when I'm checking when I'm going around checking for English subject, I should sign against English. When I'm going for maths, I should sign against maths, and so on. And similarly, I will have an attendance sheet with me. So for every subject, the student has to sign. So for English, I will take the sign of the student. So the student will sign my attendance sheet, so that I can make sure that the student came to the test. It is important to take sign against each paper. So in the attendance sheet, there will be 3 columns. For English, for maths, for science. For every paper, you have to go and sign the OMR. For every paper, you have to go and sign the hall ticket. And for every paper, the student has to sign the attendance sheet. This ensures that all protocol has been followed. The student came to the test, the student took the test, we got the OMR sheet. This is a process of validation and it is really, really important. So now let's talk about answering the questions. Okay, so the timing has been clearly provided to all invigilators per subject. So for class 5 and 6, the students will get 60 minutes to answer each paper. For classes 7th and 8th, students will get 70 minutes to answer each paper. So as soon as the clock strikes, let's start with the first subject. So English is supposed to start at 10:30. So at 10:30, 2 minutes before the paper is supposed to start, please give away the question papers to the students as well. You would have already given the OMRs 10 minutes ago. 2 to 5 minutes before the paper, give them the question paper, but tell them not to do anything with it. You will tell them when to start. So as soon as the clock strikes 10:30, you ask the students to start answering the questions on the question paper. Students will answer the questions and they will mark the corresponding answers in their OMR sheet. So for example, the answer to question number 1 is B. They will circle the oval B and so on. Please tell the student this has to be clearly done. So they have to, darken the oval properly. Darken the oval properly, otherwise the machine will not read the answer and the answer will get marked as wrong. If a student asks you that they have incorrectly answered a question, what to do? Just ask them to rub out the wrong answer properly and then then correct the answer and circle the other oval.
Ma'am, where do I do the maths calculation?
So the maths calculation can be done in the question paper itself. In the maths question paper, space is provided for doing maths calculations and students can do the calculation in the question papers. So as soon as the clock strikes 11:30, take the papers from students of 5th and 6th, and for 7th and 8th, it's 11:40. So all the schedule will already be shared with you, so you don't have to remember the timings, but just keep a track so that you don't give insufficient time to students to answer the question, as well as not give them extra time, because that will make students feel that some students were treated unfairly and were given extra time. So please be very careful of the timing. If the paper says 60 minutes, please give them only 60 minutes and not a minute less or a minute more. After the students have done with the paper, please collect OMR in a order, okay? So for example, let's say you have students from 1 to 25 in your classroom. Please go to each desk. So you go to student number 1, you collect OMR, student number 2, student number 3, and so on. Do not break the order. Do not let the students come to you and give the OMR, because there are chances that you will miss out. So make sure you ask the students to keep sitting. You go to each desk and you collect their OMR. That way you will not miss out any student. That way you will not lose an OMR. And that way a student by mistake will not take the OMR back with him or her. So you go to each desk and you collect OMR. After you've collected every OMR in the room, count it. So let's say you have 30 students in your room. Please count that you have 30 OMR sheets. Once you're satisfied that you have all the OMR sheets, you can ask the students to take a 10-minute break as is given in the schedule. So the first break will be for about 20 minutes, but ideally the students should come back to the class 5 minutes before the break is supposed to get over, so that they can start preparing for the next exam. So this is a pretty straightforward process. There's a lunch break in between when the students will take their own lunch. They will all bring their own lunch from home, and we will be providing lunch for all invigilators and support staff at the test center. I would advise you all to take lunch with the students. Please don't go away to a separate room to take the lunch, because as adults at the test center, it is our responsibility to look after the children. So please make sure that you know where each student is. You are keeping an eye spread out in the center, so that the students are not like running around or doing something mischievous or sitting on the ledge or hitting each other. So please make sure that even during breaks you are maintaining discipline in the test center, because some children are really young and we have to look after them. So for example, a student goes to the bathroom and doesn't come back for very long. Please make sure you send some adult to go check on the student. So we have to be careful about the children's security also. We have to maintain proper discipline at the test center. We are responsible for these children for the time that they are with us. So don't let them run around in the corridor. Don't let them push each other or sit somewhere which is dangerous and they could fall. So as you would do in a school, as you would look after children in your own school, please look after children here also. It's the same process that we need to follow for their security. So at the end of the day, once the last paper gets over, so which is going to be the science paper, and it will get over at 3:20 for all classes, 3:10 I'm sorry, it will get over at 3:10, and at that time you should collect OMRs, count OMRs, and only when you are satisfied that you've got everything, you can dismiss the class. Ideally you should stagger dismissing. So in the beginning only you should decide which classes should go first, because we don't want like 600 children running down the stairs together. So please decide, let the test center in charge tell you how you should disperse your students. So it's not so necessary that exactly at 3:20 students have to just run away. So just make sure that it's done in an orderly manner and the children are going down safely, and please make sure there are some people standing at the gate also, so that in case there is some parent missing and the child goes down, doesn't find the parent, you make sure that they're safely inside the test center and they don't go away on their own trying to find their parents. So this is the entrance of the school, and this is where we will put the notice board sheet. So when the parents come in the morning, they'll just come and read where the child is supposed to sit. So for example, Abha Mishra will come and see her name, and she'll see that she is sitting in class 5A, which is on the 5th floor, and she will just leave her parents here and go up to the classroom. And similarly for each class there will be a separate sheet. So you should put up the notice board sheet class wise, so that you have less chaos at the entrance. At the entrance is the point where the parents should stay. They should not go beyond this point. No parent is allowed to go to the classroom. Only children can go to the classroom from this point. This is a security matter and no exception should be made for this. If anything parents are saying that my child forgot his lunch or they don't have the pencil box with them, please just ask them to put a label on the thing, and you can send some helper staff to go give the material to the child that he or she has missed. No parent without exception should be allowed to go up, because it puts other children at risk. You should not allow strangers up to the classroom. So that is a security that we are following. Only known staff should be allowed to go up to the classroom, which is going to be people from educational initiatives and the school staff provided by the school. So please display the notice, the sheet on the notice board clearly, and please have 2-3 people standing here helping, because parents will have questions. Parents might push each other. So at that time you need to calm the crowd. So try to manage the crowd properly. Ask parents to leave the kids and go away. Try that a mob doesn't form, especially big centers. I mean, where there are students like in 300 and 400 numbers and twice the parents. So both the parents, I'm sure, will want to come and drop the kid. So at that time, just make sure they drop the kid and they go away and they come back at 3:20 to pick up the kid. Thank you all so much for helping out at Asset Talent Search. It is an amazing opportunity for children from across India and abroad, and you are a part of this journey for these children, and on behalf of all of them and their families, I'm very thankful to you for creating this environment for them and making this opportunity possible for the children. All the best to all of you. Any problems, please reach out to your respective test center in charge. Test center in charge, please reach out to me in case of any problems. I'll be available on phone 24/7. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions. I'm more than happy to answer your queries. All the best to all of you.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much.